Hello, good evening, and welcome to the United Hotspot. My name is Webb. Now, Erik Ten Hag has cried out to supporters of Manchester United. That's you and I saying, stop chanting bad songs to us, guys. Support us as we do try to fight for what looks to be impossible now. Top four for Manchester United. We return to action on Sunday against Liverpool. I'm here to give you all Manchester United team news, but also, most importantly, highlight some of the positives I believe we can focus on as Man United supporters. Now, we've moved on, honestly, from that loss. It was not the worst of losses, to be honest. Again, another game, we capitulate in the dying minutes of the game. It is painful. Fans left sad, swinging emotions. That's what sport is all about. I mean, you win some and lose some. For the neutrals, it was a beautiful game of football. So, if at all you are feeling so bad, focus on the neutrals and think, okay, at least there are people who had a very good night because of how beautiful that was that game of football was against Chelsea. But so here's the news. First of all, the team news ahead of the return to action on Sunday against Liverpool is that we could be stuck with only Willie Kambwala and Harry Maguire as the only two knocks in the team, as we are waiting for the assessment of Rafael Varane, who was again substituted off at halftime, and Johnny Evans, who replaced him, but also later got substituted off because of an injury 21 minutes into action. So we could be stuck with only two centre backs. Man United is assessing tomorrow in the pre-match press conference. Erik Ten Hag should be able to come out and address that. But the reality is we might have only two people to rely on. Casemiro too is a doubt. Yes, Casemiro too. There's questions about his fitness, but we've got Scott McTominay and Mason Mount there. Honestly, for me, I don't really I don't think I'll feel so sad if Casemiro is out. Yes, he's an important player, but his levels are not up there yet. So honestly, Scott McTominay, Mason Mount, an opportunity to give an opportunity to Mount, and now Scott, by the way, for me, I'll take. So I will not dwell so much. I wish them to be fit, but we've got able players to come out there and fight. I love Scott and his attitude, his fight. I love Mount and his fight that I believe we strongly need now. So I would love to see them play more minutes, in all fairness. So that's a bit of what's happening. The rest of the departments are okay. I love the fact that Erik Ten Hag tried to rest players and rotate. So Marcus Rashford perhaps could return in the starting 11, but given how beautiful Anthony played in his last game, and that's one of the positives I want to focus on as we do move ahead. I honestly think Anthony should be starting again ahead of Rashford, honestly. But Ten Hag was speaking about a rotation and stuff. I don't think it makes sense. Even when Rashford came on as a substitute, he was showing no fight, no desire. Rashford has really relegated himself to the bench, honestly. Now, let's talk about the positives in this team. Honestly, yeah, there are some positives we can look back at and say, we are, I think, on a good road. Like Erik Ten Hag has been saying that, guys, don't bully us. Just don't interrupt this process. It's a good process. It's going forward. And he keeps talking to the fans. I love how he tries to talk, just that at times he says a few things that are off. And I probably think it's because of the pressure and, failing to handle situations, which is okay. We're all human. We'll learn on the job. Maybe we'll look back after some point, at some point in time, and reflect and say, maybe I shouldn't have said this, but you'll learn on the job. The reality is that Anthony Dos Santos is one of the major positives we had. I think that we can look at and say, okay, this is good. You love to see it. When is the last time we saw Anthony play a good game and we are all feeling, yes, Anthony is now a Man United player? I thought he did so in the last game. Never mind the penalty that he considered. That was a weak penalty, honestly. I think any neutral referee wouldn't have awarded that. These referees today who want to be celebrities will do such, but I don't see any reason why in football you'd want to award such a penalty on such a big game, such a huge game of football. Both of the penalties, by the way, that we considered were so light, so light. But that is it. When things go bad for you, I think they say bad luck comes in threes. We are conceding funny yellow cards and penalties. Then we hear there is a dead body or remains of a dead body found just outside the Man United training academy, and you're thinking, what's going on? Bad luck comes in so many. Then the injuries we have, and you're thinking, if you're a spiritual person, you would be going down on your knees and praying for Manchester United, because there seems to be a lot of things going wrong with us, and it can't be by coincidence. So That's where we are, but we can focus on the positives, and that's why I'm here today. So Anthony is one of the positives we have. Two is Erik Ten Hag himself being able to bench Marcus Rashford is a statement, and it shows you that maybe next could be Bruno, who has not been performing at 100%. People have, honestly, we can all in unison agree that Bruno should have been playing 90 minutes for a couple of games, I think, before. From the last to a few games back then, I think we think Bruno could have been benched even and substituted or even not started a game. So you think for me, Erik Ten Hag is beginning to have that confidence now to be able to bench some of the players that hitherto looked untouchable to him. That's a big positive to look at. The other positive I believe we look at, that's a big one, is Andre Onana. Very important guy, very important part of how we play, and he's picking up and clicking, and he's so consistent. So that's a major positive for us to look at as Man United and say, okay, we are headed in the right direction. So as we do go on to take on Liverpool, we do want to focus on those and say how do we build on them. Our young boy Maino is consistent. He's becoming like a default. He's in default settings. He will have a good game every time and every now and then. Of course, his department, the midfield, will be exposed, but I cannot entirely blame it on him. I blame it on how Erik Ten Hag organizes his team. But for him as an individual, you see that he's putting on good performances. There are errors that are being made by individuals in moments, but again, it goes back to the collective. I think the individual errors come from the collective lack of confidence and calmness in the team, the disorganization in the team, and that's why you want to, draw it back on to Erik Ten Hag, the manager, and you're thinking his is a little lacking, and it's exposing his players, putting players under a lot of pressure. Yet they put themselves in good positions where the managers got to support them to manage the game and see it off. For example, when we led 3-2, it was now up to the manager to make the right substitutions, have the right tactics to be able to manage the lead. But yes, the players should take responsibility, but also the manager in that point. You have no excuse not to support your players to be able to manage that period because they are under pressure. They are, I mean, certainly they have to be under pressure. So they need the support of the manager and the people on the touchline to support them make the right decisions. So if you don't, you've got to take, that bit of blame for that. But like I said, no blame game today, focusing on only the positives. The other key positive we have is the fact that we knocked up Liverpool in an important game. We do know that really that gives us a good impetus coming to the game. But also the performance against Chelsea wasn't bad. It was a painful loss, but it wasn't a terrible performance. It was actually one of the better games we've played. It was a more exciting game of football. So if we can build on that, we can actually go back and beat Liverpool again. And the beauty is we are playing at home this time around. We are not on the road. We are back home at Old Trafford where we expect home support to be massive. And that's why I say, guys, do what Erik Ten Hag says. Those of you who will travel to Old Trafford, cheer the team, support the team. Don't chant those bad chants that we had. I mean, away at the bridge. I mean, you support the team because that's what they need now going forward. The reality is there are improvements. We can put a few good passes together. That's the other improvement you look at in this team. We can put a few good passes together. We can look like we are dominating the game. Like I said, we dominated the game, perhaps not entirely, like he said it, but we had good moments in the game. We were probably before I think up until the last minutes of the game when they were fighting and we were playing more catch up, we were actually, I think, a bit in control, not exactly dominating, but in control. Maybe dominating was an overstatement, but we were quite in control for the most part of the game. So you want to look at those positives and think if we follow these, if we rely on them, regardless of who is in or who is out, we should be able to come out there and believe in ourselves that we can beat Liverpool. If we do at least one win, those are 4 points from 3 games, four from a possible nine. Not the best, well, it's less than half, but it is okay in where we are. I think for me, I was debating with people who are saying they're more interested in United winning, not how we play, regardless how we won. I honestly don't think I'm like that. I'm one of those who is more for improving how we play, whether we lose or not, so long as how we play is improving. Me, I've given up already on this season because I know if we don't improve how we play, even if we fumble and win games and finish among the top four, we are going to be humiliated again in the Champions League. I would rather take a step back and say, let's work on how we play, we improve, make fans happy with how we play at least. At least that's a bare minimum. Man United is supposed to be playing well. Then the winning will eventually come when you're playing well consistently. pick the consistency other than fumbling into victories like we've been for the most part of the season. So I'm not like those of the school of thought that regardless how we play, so long as we win. Erik Ten Hag wants to give that vibe sometimes. I'm not so entirely for it. I don't think we should be just desperate to be winning games and be in the top. It is good. We have to be in the top four as Man United. But where we are, we can swallow humble pie and say we just need to play football. We just need to look like an elite club, the biggest football club in the world, and play like so. So first things first, improve how we play, be consistent with it, then start demanding wins, and then we can think about positions and eventually the title. For me, that is how I look at it, honestly. My name is Webb. This is the United Hotspot. Subscribe. That was a quick update for you on all the news concerning United today. Of course, the team news is not so exciting, but there are positives, guys, that we can borrow on from rather and build on to go and torment these noisy scousers again. Subscribe.